Only Manchester United would have two really important players coming back from injury and call it an awkward situation. Like, every time a player comes back injured, you're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be buzzing about that player being back in your side. But for Ruben Amorim, it is a problem. And it's a problem for a few members of Manchester United's squad that I'm going to go into in this video. This is Forever United TV. This is your evening update, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. Changing it up tonight, just dropping a video in instead of the live show in full preparation for this weekend's action. So here is your up-to-date news. It's pretty much from what happened earlier on today, but it is causing a problem for Manchester United, even though it's fantastic news. If you didn't see the press conference coverage earlier on, go back and watch that. We gave a live reaction to what Ruben Amorim said today in his press conference ahead of the game against Chelsea this weekend. So the big news from it was that Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha are both fit and back in the matchday squad for this weekend. A bit of a surprise. We thought we were going to get them eased back in. We weren't going to rush the players back. We've not heard anything about Mason Mount. So why bringing these two key players back in? Is it a problem for Ruben Amorim? Well, we spent £200 million this summer on a brand new strike force. And Manchester United, with these two players coming back, obviously Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha being part of that £200 investment into the strike force this season. Let me just clear that up. Not Mason Mount, but Matheus Cunha is, alongside Mbeumo and Sesko. We are now wanting to see what this is like, because Man United have spent a lot of money this summer on that three-prong attack. Cunha, Sesko and Mbeumo. And obviously we want to see that work, because that money's been taken away from where we should have spent it, which is in midfield. So in midfield, we've got no reinforcements whatsoever, and every single Manchester United fan has got a problem with that area of the pitch. And everyone in the Premier League can see how easy it is to play against Manchester United. So now that Cunha's back, now that Mason Mount is back, obviously that means one thing. And everybody around Manchester United and every single Man United fan knows what I'm going to say next. It means dropping Bruno back in to that number 8 position again. And who's going to play alongside him? Well, it also means who is going to miss out alongside Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno's there. And who else is also going to miss out, because Matheus Cunha's back in the front three. In fact, if he goes back to where Manchester United performed their best this season, which was in the opening game against Arsenal, then he's going to put Mason Mount, Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha back in that three-prong attack, therefore leaving Benjamin Sesko with nowhere to go. I don't care what you say, you don't spend £73 million on a striker and then not play him. You don't spend 200 million completely avoiding the biggest issue that we've got, which is that midfield area, and then leave the £73 million man on the bench. It just looks like you don't know what you're doing, and the recruitment is all over the place. So Cunha being back is great. He walks back into that side. I don't care what anybody's saying. Mason Mount has been our best player this season. So what's the problem? Well, you're going to lose out on Kobbie Mainoo again, who was the only bright spark from the Manchester derby. You're also going to lose out on Amad Diallo, because now that Mazraoui's also back fit and he is seen as the preferred choice on the right-hand side, you're going to have Mazraoui in that side and Amad and Mainoo on the bench. Now, this is good, yes? Well, no. Well, it's good if you want squad depth. But obviously, we know there are players that are unhappy at the moment. This system is not working. It also means that Benjamin Sesko is sat on that bench next to them two players as well. And you're starting to scratch your head. You've got three really young players there. 20, 22, 23 they are, them three players. They are the future of this football club. But will they be looking elsewhere in certain parts in terms of Mainoo and Amad if they don't get into this side with Ruben Amorim? Ineos have come out and said that Manchester United are right behind Ruben Amorim and there is no other manager lined up ready to come in. Ruben touched on this in his press conference about what conversations were had between him and Sir Jim Ratcliffe when he flew over in his helicopter to Carrington yesterday. All about the normal stuff, the progression of this team, the statistics and the data analysis, which has come out saying that Manchester United are actually performing better. So Ruben's doing something right. The performance analysis really is without Sesko in the side. The performance analysis and the good data on that is with Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo in the side. So are we going back to that? And then are we sticking Mainoo back on the bench because it's probably going to be Casemiro next to Bruno Fernandes? Does Mazraoui keep his place in the side and then Amad sat on the bench? Two of Manchester United's youngest and bright prospects in the side, and then a 22-year-old striker who doesn't know where he's coming or bleeding going at the moment because he's not getting any game time. He was He was basically thrown to the wolves against Manchester City with nowhere to turn, zero service, and now he's sat back on the bench again this weekend. Look, this might not be the case, and this is what I want to open up in the comment section below. Do you think that Manchester United should play Benjamin Sesko, Ryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha? Is it about time? Because that's where we spend the majority of Manchester United's budget, a budget which we spent £105 million worth of on a company credit card, i.e. the revolving credit facility on. That's where we spent our money this summer. How can you leave over a third of that sat on the bench because you're playing another player that let's be honest, it's an awkward situation whichever way you look at it. We should never have bought Mount. We didn't need him. But this season he's been our most consistent player. But he's getting in the way of the biggest purchase that we made this summer, when we really should have been spending that on a midfielder. Some people would actually say that Manchester United should have kept Rasmus Højlund if this is the way you was going to play it. Why did you spend £73 million on a striker that's not going to play because you're playing 3-10s in your three-prong attack? Why didn't you just keep Rasmus Højlund as a reserve to come in when necessary? He probably would have been all right sat on the bench. He actually came out and said that he would fight for his place in the team and take his minutes where he could. Because at the moment, Benjamin Sesko's got no chance of improving at Manchester United because Ruben's clearly not going to play him. So against Chelsea, whichever way you look at it, which way you go, I'm thinking against Chelsea, they've got a weak back line. Their centre-back partnership of Tosin and Chalobah is not up for it at all. And Harry Kane absolutely rinsed them against Bayern Munich. Honestly, if I'm looking at that game and I'm analysing Chelsea as a team, I'm going in with Benjamin Sesko up front. Mason Mount will have to sit it out and Matheus Cunha comes back in. That's if he does play either of them players. You know what Ruben's like? He might actually just keep both Cunha and Mount on the bench and play Sesko and Ahmad in the free and still push Bruno Fernandes back. Really what he should be doing in this situation is assessing both Mount and Cunha. If they're back in the squad, then they're fit to play. And you start either one of them players. Mason Mount or Matheus Cunha. For me, I would go with Cunha and Mbeumo and I'd play Sesko. That's what I would do. And going off this 3-4-3 anyway, I want to see that strike force. Then I would actually, funnily enough, this is how I would do it, and this is gonna stir the pot a little bit here. Actually, it probably won't because there's a lot of people who go along with this. It's probably more of a surprise than anything in this one. I would drop Bruno Fernandes. I would drop him and I would play. If you want to have someone in there that's energetic and up and down and have that stability at the back also, I would play Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro in the midfield. If you are insistent on the 3-4-3, I would also drop Luke Shaw out and put Mazraoui at at right centre back and put your left centre back with De Ligt in the middle. Get Shaw out, get Bruno out, get Sesko up front with Mbeumo and Cunha, put Mainoo next to Casemiro, have Ahmad as right wing back, have Dorgu as left wing back. That there, I think, is more balanced as well because you can always change that up. You can always tweak things a little bit there. If Cunha isn't really fit enough for 90 minutes, then Cunha could come off and you could bring Mount on into a midfield free if you wanted, or put him back up as a 10. There's different ways. Mount could drop back a bit deeper. You could bring Bruno on to have an impact later on as well. He's not going to do it. Of course he's not going to do it because Bruno's never going to be dropped. But the strange scenario that bringing in two good players that have performed well for us this season is a problem for United is this could only ever happen to Manchester United. It's strange. And I know a lot of you are understanding what I'm saying here because both of them, going off the way they've played, come back into the side. But we're stuck here as a United fan base because we want to see Benjamin Sesko with Mbeumo and Cunha. But Mason Mount's done nothing wrong this season and should be coming back into the side when fit, along with Cunha. So now we're stuck. And why? Because of the system. Because of Ruben Amorim's formation. We could change it up and we could fit more players into this team that really deserve to be into this team. But we can't because he's not going to drop Bruno and he's doing the 3-4-3 formation. That's the big problem that we've got here. And as happy as Ruben will be, and you know what? Even if we played Mount, Cunha and Mbeumo, I still think we've got a chance of beating Chelsea. To be honest, we've got a very good chance of beating Chelsea with them players in the side. They've worked well so far. And Bruno and Casemiro work well against a Arsenal backline. So realistically, when you look at it, they could still come through this game and win the game, and Ruben looks like he's got it right. But then again, they've still got the problems behind the scenes, because there's no way you can then bring in and break up a winning side and bring Sesko in. And I just don't know when he's going to play. And it just looks like he's wasted money on a striker instead of spending that money on a midfielder. We all know we needed a striker because we were moving out Rasmus Højlund. Why did we not prioritise the midfield if they knew they were going to go in with Mount, Cunha and Mbeumo, knowing that that was going to rotate? It just makes no sense at all. And surely someone inside Old Trafford would have said, look, do we need to get a striker right now? Like, I thought we needed to, but I had no idea he was going to persist with playing Mbeumo, Cunha and Mason Mount. I just think he's going to do the same thing again this weekend. And it does worry me a little bit about what he's actually doing, Ruben Amorim, right now, and what he might be doing just to get a result over the line. But long term, it might be affecting things and it might be a problem. That's how I see it anyway. I'm just checking through all of the news that's going around as well. Like we said before, on the actual show for the press conference, when you look at the news, Joshua Zirkzee, another player that's not even being mentioned at the moment. We talked about him earlier on in the live show for the press conference. Zirkzee surplus to requirements and United open to letting him go now. That tells you where we're moving with this side here. It really does. And because them two players are back, we are really going to see a change again from Manchester United, I think, in this game. I think we're going back to Mount, Cunha and Mbeumo. I do. If they're available, I think Ruben goes with what he knows and trusts. And unfortunately, it's going to be to the detriment of other players. I think Mainu, Sesko and Ahmad are going to miss out in this game. That's just my prediction anyway, and what team I think he will go with. I think it will be Shaw playing again. I think it will be De Ligt and Lenny Yoro. I'm hoping he plays Senna Lammens. If he doesn't play Senna Lammens, then again, I'm scratching my head and trying to figure out what he's thinking here. And he's hard to defend at the moment, Ruben Amorim. He is. I just hope it goes well for him so he can say, I was right in what I said. But even if that is the case, I still think that he's not helping himself later down the line here. You tell me when you're going to play Benjamin Sesko if all of these players are fit and you're only playing one game a week. This isn't 2 games a week football anymore. You can't rotate. You've got your best team every week because it has to be the Premier League that we do well in. It's the only thing we can do well in. So this is what I don't think people are actually looking at, and this is the problem that I see that Ruben's got to handle here right now. So yeah, that's where I'm concerned, and that is my biggest issue with them players coming back. And it's not an issue because them players are brilliant and go back in. But I'm worried about what it means for everybody else. And them 3 younger players in particular and the future, it just looks a little bit embarrassing for United that we spent that much money and we're just not using it. It's weird, it's strange. Anyway, get your comments in below, everybody. It is Friday evening. We're mixing it up a little bit. I'm out tonight, so we're just doing a video, keeping you updated with all of the news. There isn't anything else significant. I will bring you fully up to date with all of the embargoed version of the press conference first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock. So make sure that you're there for that one, everybody. That's going to be interesting because it was a bit tame, part 1, in that press conference. I'll admit that. I think it was. The big questions might be coming for the Sunday papers. You never know. You never know. Let's just see what comes about tomorrow morning, maybe tonight, with the game being played tomorrow. I think that's when the embargo version will come out, and then we'll go through all the news then. But thank you, everybody, for all of your participation through the day. That is the content finished for today here on FUTV. I'll see you all tomorrow. Make sure you get your likes in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button up on your screen right now. And also make sure you get your comments, more importantly, in below